going to talk about planning the feast, called the Biblical Feast Planner. And it's just something to get you started planning the feast. So here's one of the biggest issues with Israel that is a problem. Yeah. They study, but the doing isn't quite there. Taking the head knowledge and moving it into heart knowledge. That's what this show is all about. The Happy Hippie Hebrew Girl is about moving your head knowledge into heart knowledge. Otherwise, the head knowledge is of no use. The planner here is something to help facilitate that. Now, you don't have to have it, but to listen to us for the next few minutes, but it definitely will help you as you plan out the feast. At the very beginning of the book, I have like a self-audit place where you're going to actually do a self-audit of how your attitude is towards the feast.
Always a good thing to do, sometimes a little challenging to be honest about oneself, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Isaac's been through quite a week. It's been a rough week. You know, he just got a brand new job trucking and had to tell them, hey, I actually need Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday off of this week. And they're like, how do you expect to truck from Wednesday to Friday?
And then next Thursday, and then the next Sunday, or the Monday and Tuesday following, and then another Monday and Tuesday after that.
Definitely a time of proving.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it is. Because this is where the rubber of repentance hits the road.
Right.
Imagine you have the two guys right here from the company, right?
Yep.
And you're facing them and you're worried about what they think about getting these days off and if they're going to, have issue with that. And if in the end they're going to say, you're not worth it, go away, we're going to get somebody else to take your truck. Or, and...
Are they still going to like me?
Keep them right there. And then on this side, put YHVH Elohim, put Yeshua the King, put the Ruach HaKodesh, and then say, who do I care about more? Who do I fear more? Visualize, do the mental gymnastics to picture the two right there. It should be pretty easy to know who you care about more and who you fear more. So here's the feast planner for Yom Teruah. And just getting started here, I'm just going to go down through a couple questions here. Get your pen and paper out, and we're going to just walk down through a few important questions. There's a lot of them on here, and so get the book, and then you can really sit down and just, really go through if you're that kind of person. Otherwise, just, wing it with me here. All right. If you're new to celebrating the feast, if you're new to planning it, how am I going to... For one, we've got to know what it's about. We have to know what the feast is about.
Right.
We need to know what Yom Teruah is about. And we start by saying, what did Papa say about it? Mm-hmm. What did he say in the scriptures? So this is my book. I'm just going to read the text to you. So Leviticus, does that say 23, 24 to 25, Numbers 29, 1 to 6 is where he tells us what he wants us to do for the Feast of Trumpets. So, and then after that, in the light of Yeshua and what Yeshua is, who he is and what he's about, how did he speak on? How did he fulfill it? If he did he fulfill trumpets? Not yet. How is he going to? That's important. So we do some study about it, but we have to take that study and then move it into action and actually celebrate. He tells us to celebrate. So how do we do that? That's what we want to talk about today. Mm-hmm. So if you've attended a Yom Teruah celebration before, my question is, did you love it? Did you kind of like it, or did you not like it at all? And then I want to ask you, what did you love about it? What didn't you like about it? What would you change? So when you're planning something, you need to really look at what you've experienced before. Mm-hmm. And then say, okay, I'm going to add this, take this away, I'm going to do this sort of thing. If you've never celebrated it before, and you're not going to go somewhere to celebrate it, then play in it, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, lucky you, then you get to...
I know.
Yeah.
Remember when we played in the feast?
It's not a bad spot to be in.
No. We got to play in the feast for a long time. He shut the door on all fellowship for us for a long time, kept us isolated in the woods. Mm-hmm. And we got to really look at how to do this. Now, most of the time we always invited at least one person. So it wasn't that we celebrated alone, but we didn't have the input of the messianic rabbinic nonsense. We were really able to play in the feast, and that was fun. So then you need to figure out, am I going to host it, or am I going to really pursue going to find an event to go to? Right. So not everyone is made to host. Not everyone is made to just sit in the in the seat. In the idea of looking at the basics of Yom Teruah, it's a high Shabbat, so that means that we're going to rest on that day. You look at what Papa says, and then you look at what Yeshua did or what he preached on during Yom Teruah. And I love the chronological Gospels by Michael Rood because it helps us know where Yeshua was when he was preaching different things.
Right. So it's Matthew 14, verse 13 to 21, Mark 6:32 to 44, Luke 9:10, John 6:1 to 15.
That's what the chronological gospel says he was doing 3 days before Yom Teruah, and then 2 days before Yom Teruah.
Matthew 14:22 to 36, Mark 6:45 to 53, as well as verse 55. Yeah. And then in John, it's chapter 6, verses 16 to 22.
1 day before Yom Teruah,
is covered by John chapter 6, verses 25 through 66.
And 71. I guess it might go all the way to 71. And then the day of Yom Teruah, we see what Yeshua was preaching in
Matthew 15, 1 to 20, and Mark 7, 1 to 23. It is clear that he preached on the resurrection, the last day, life, and the fact that we must see and believe that he is the prophet Moses spoke of, who we must shema or obey. From what our rabbi focused on, we can conclude that Yom Teruah is all about the moment when he will gather his living or resurrect to life those who have been marked as his betrothed.
I'm so excited. So excited.
Oh, really? I hadn't noticed.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. You look at what Yehovah says, and then you look at what Yeshua said and what he preached on during that. So we know it's about the resurrection. We know it's about life. We know it's about all these the last day, the day of Yehovah. So then basically, I like to make a purpose for the information. So, there's so many great teachers on, online and stuff that there's not... clarify that. Not everyone is a great teacher. Not everyone is teaching truth, but there are some that are so amazing at understanding some of these feasts. These are things that you're learning about this feast. You're going to write them down on this side, and then what I like to do is say, how am I going to remember that next year? So I need to attach that to a tradition. If it's really important, then I need to attach it to a tradition so I can remember it. We do this one thing that helps us remember what this beautiful thing is that we learned. Papa tells us to shout. To Teruah on Yom Teruah was about shouting. Okay, so something that we do is we gather together at the end and we do that group hug, and then we shout to Yeshua, "Come get us!" And we say it really, really loud. And we shout at the top of our lungs, Or the idea Papa said to watch for the new moon. You got to watch for that seventh moon. Oh, and by the way, I have. Oh. Remember? Psalms 104:19. Check this out.
Okay.
The moon marks off the seasons, and the sun knows when to go down. And that word seasons is moed, which means appointments. The moon marks off the moed. Hello, people. It's so simple. Stop complicating everything, people. Jeez, sorry.
She means other people.
Yeah, I'm not talking about, hopefully I'm not talking about you, but like whoever is making this calendar thing a huge issue, he's talking, we're not worshiping the moon by watching the moon like he told us to do, to observe that so that you can mark off the Moed and find the Moedim. So anyway, just a tangent, just a random tangent. All right, and then there is a personal audit in the book for each feast. Some feasts you might feel more comfortable being a guest than a host. Some feasts you might like organizing, and some you might look at the Seder on Passover and go, I don't think so, it's too hard. Or you might say, yeah, let me do it. Do you feel like you have to be in a church to feel it, or a synagogue to feel like you're actually celebrating this feast, or can you be out on a picnic blanket with your family and still feel like you are honoring the king and stuff? So it's just some personal stuff to help you think through it. And then we're going to start to personalize it and make it our own. So we're going to look at what your current traditions are, if you have any. But what's most important is looking at your non-negotiables. I call them the non-negotiables, like what you absolutely have to have to celebrate.
We observe the High Shabbat.
Right, because that's what Papa said, so we have to do that. Yeah.
Because we want to mark it, and so we want to
observe.
The high point is, or one of them is watching for that first sliver to appear in the sky.
Right. And the whole point of that is we're practicing on the moon, and someday it's going to be Yeshua, not the moon we're watching for.
Right. That translates then into where we will, not where we'll spend the entire
evening,
24 hours.
Right, no.
But where we really mark the entrance into the day.
Which is the evening before. So the Erev Yom Teruah. So as sun is setting and that new moon appears, we like to have our feast table out in a space that has a big sky.
Yep.
So for us, that's a non-negotiable. What is working about how I'm celebrating? What is not? So over the course of the years, Isaac and I and the girls have hosted over 200 biblical feasts for the King. And so we've learned through the course of that, like what works and what doesn't. And, we've taken away from each one, okay, we're not going to do that again. Or, oh man, that worked great. We want to do that again. Each one kind of continues to be perfected and morphed into something that works for our family and those around us, but also children as they grow.
Yeah, that changes.
That changes the dynamics huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have little ones, the feast is going to look so much different than if you have, teenagers. Or if you have all boys, it's going to look different than all girls. I mean, my girls are like totally princess girls, so we do a lot of dressing up and do a lot of like foo-foo, if you want to say that, just real elegant sort of stuff. Okay, he doesn't do foo-foo. That's good. I'm glad you don't. But if you had boys, oh my, maybe it should be a rodeo / feast. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Okay, so on with this. Then I have a place for you to rate it. Like how much do you like it? 1 is I hate it. 10 is I am in love with it. I'm trying to get at the idea of Papa says to delight in his ways, to delight in the feasts, and if we find them cumbersome or a burden, then we need to step back and we need to say what's going on. Take an audit of it. Just don't bulldoze through all the feasts without thinking through, is this working? Is he pleased with this? Or are we fighting all the time? And that's not a good offering if you're fighting all the time. Challenges. Isaac, what are our challenges with? Yeah.
Because, one of our non-negotiables is to be able to view the sky.
Yeah.
And we're in North Idaho in the fall. Then, the weather.
Yeah, the weather is super tough.
Can make it interesting sometimes.
So the weather is our challenge. We've had rain forecasted, and it doesn't rain, or we've had wind. We've
tried to, compromise or, be realistic, but still achieve the goal. So, like one year we were undercover, but near that open sky spot. So we could actually duck out and run over there to look at the sky periodically. Well, one year we were indoors.
Oh, that's right.
For the actual sit-down meal and teaching part of it. But then we made a trip out
and we did a little walk with everyone.
Outside.
Yeah, that was fun.
To look at the sky.
This is my offering to Papa, and so if I put out wine glasses and china and all this other stuff, and if he wants to blow it away in a windstorm or dump a bunch of rain on it and flood it away, that's kind of his problem. So I'm not worried so much about what the weather does.
Yeah, and over all the years we've done this, that we've never gotten rained out.
No.
The year we were undercover,
it was a threat.
It was threatening, but it never actually materialized. And then the time when the wind actually was breaking wine glasses, it started to thunder and rain
right at the end.
As we were starting to pick up.
All the guests had gone home. It was just Isaac and my treasurer, Garrett, and I that were picking up the girls.
So pretty wild to be on Papa's time.
Yeah, that's what's so cool is when you see his thumbprints. I mean, we've gone to the beach with it cloudy, looking like it's going to rain, and he moves away the clouds, and can be a beautiful evening. So hopefully he's going to do that this Monday night, because the forecast doesn't look so good. Okay, let's get going. Another thing that I'm a proponent on is don't jump ahead of Papa. Don't jump. Don't start thinking about Sukkot right now, outside of the fact I'm going here to probably spend Sukkot. Don't start studying Sukkot until after Yom Kippur, because you have a feast in front of you that's Yom Teruah that needs all your attention. So, when you're doing that, a lot of times the rock will show you something and kind of make it come alive. And we call that like a theme, like something that kind of sits in your mind and your heart, and you just keep contemplating. Each feast has a theme, as in, obviously the Yom Teruah is about the King's return, but like within that, there's like something that pops up that we call a theme for that year, something he has to highlight.
Is unique for that year in particular.
One year it was what's in your backpack. Like we had friends that were doing the whole prepping thing. And so we really felt the need to help people get a clue as to who they really, what prepping actually looked like according to Papa. Does it look like, stocking your cellar with food and having lots of ammo and stuff, or what's prepping to Papa? So we really felt like that was super important. The hammer, so that was a great theme that year. We really focused on the sound of our trumpet, like the clearness, the frequency, so that we weren't causing more chaos kind of thing. So, and then one year it was like hope. It was like personal and then global hope that we were really feeling moved to talk about. But this year, there is a theme. I didn't think there was because I've been so busy on the show, but the theme this year for me is the state of the dead, like where we cut. And this is the reason, is because Yom Teruah is all about the resurrection.
Right.
And if we're already somewhere or floating around somewhere, there's no need for a resurrection. So I have actually a YouTube video coming out, a picnic table talk that I've done. So the idea is to help you think through where you're going to do it. Then you're going to think through, what you're going to incorporate into the feast. Like, are you going to have special decorations or special foods or special clothes or guests, or who's coming, who's going to teach at it? If you need someone to do that, help you do that, a mentor. We had a mentor our first Yom Teruah. Joel came and we handed it over to him. We just set the table on the feast and said, please teach us about it. It was super cool. Are you going to have giveaways? Are you going to have crafts for the kids or activities? Like, how are you going to take offerings to cover expenses, or what are you going to have for people when they bring gifts to Papa, kind of thing? This is the King's feast. I mean, this is huge. This is Papa's feast. You got to think through this and put your whole heart and soul into it and be creative and within the boundary that he's given us, and use our everything, And this is probably the best part of the book is where you write in, the special location we'll be having. So where are we going to have ours on Monday night?
On the beach.
And then list the important things you need for the venue to accommodate. We're going to need our tablecloth. I need to iron our tablecloth. I need the spool for the center. We need all the plates and all the dishes and all the trumpets and
torches.
Lots of torches.
Yep.
Lots of light.
And lots of food.
Lots of food.
Of course.
Yep. No potluck here on this girl's feast tables for my king. No potluck. I have organized food. You could write down the decorations that you need, which would be like we're talking about the table, the tablecloth, the centerpieces, the candles on the table, that sort of thing. What special clothes will we wear?
Right.
Yeah, we do that. I have half my closet is feast clothes. Seriously, I have feast clothes for Yom Teruah that we don't wear any other time but Yom Teruah, and I'm often updating them and buying new ones. And we're talking secondhand here. We're talking consignment. We're talking what food. So the food, we have apple cake with apples and honey. We have grape juice. We have challahs with apples in it. And be careful when you're starting traditions with kids that will hold you to it. So, people you want to invite. For us, we do a kind of a public announcement through Eventbrite, and then activities. What activities are you going to do at the feast? This is super important. How are you going to keep people engaged? What's your schedule like for the feast? I don't know. I'm big into that. I like
it's not a free-for-all.
No, I don't like free-for-alls. I don't like... I need a schedule. I need events. I'm a programmer. I think it's helpful to your audience. I want to think about my audience and how they're feeling, because I've been to things where you walk in and you have no idea what's going on. You have no idea who's in charge. Everybody's too scared to stand up and take charge. I like program. I just come from that background.
Structure.
I like structure. Yeah, I do. At least for things like this, an event. You structure, a soccer match. You structure. I used to be a swim coach. You had a structured event. I don't want to come to the king with laissez-faire. At the end, there's this Yom Teruah event feast schedule. So you're going to actually write down the celebration date, the location, the start time, the end time. If you have anything to give your guests, what are you going to give? I give 7 gifts out. They're wrapped in everything for in honor of the 7th moon. And I also give a gift to the person who sights the moon the first time.
Yeah, that's always fun.
That's fun. And then the activities you'll do, how you'll close it out, and then a planning section. When will you invite people and how? That's a big part of this. We've tried everything. We've tried texting. We've tried calling. We've tried in person. We've tried snail mail. We've tried e-bright. It pretty much just doesn't matter. It's the Ruach who's going to bring or not bring. Mm-hmm. I can pour myself out trying to invite, and she has other things in mind for your little checklist to how to prepare for it. And then new traditions you might want to add next year. I hope you've already been thinking about it, but honestly, I've been slamming up to this show. So tomorrow morning, bright and early at 5 a.m. when I wake up, I'm going to focus on Yom Teruah, and we're going to have a great, great feast event for the King. Yeah, and I can't wait till he comes back. Oh.
Okay, so where is the feast planner if somebody wants one?
It's on lulu.com. If you just go to www.lulu.com and go in their search bar and you search feast planner, it should come up. If you want to say feast planner Rebekah Garvin, it should come up. And then
right. And does that planner cover all the fall feasts?
Yes, everything.
Or the whole year?
The whole year. It has weekly Shabbats, new moons. It has Passover, unleavened bread, resurrection, first fruits, ascension, Shavuot, Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Shemini Atzeret, Hanukkah, and Purim.
Okay.
For all from a Melchizedek standpoint.
The purpose of the planner. You've gone to a lot of work to walk people into this process. Mm-hmm. And what's at the heart of it again? The heart of it is moving your head knowledge into heart knowledge. The heart of it is trying to help you have a place to plan out the feast. To say, I know this about the feast. Now, how do I execute a beautiful celebration and invite my family, my husband, my family, my kids, my friends in community into this and offer this as a gift to the King? Good. That's really at the heart of this. Cool.